Tell me. I wanted to create a class. Example, in this class, I have one non-static variable. I wanted to perform storing value in this variable x, m1. I wanted to read value from that variable m2, another method. Okay. So when you're planning to create methods to perform operation on this variable, you got two options. Option number one, create object of this example class, access that variable, or access by using current object reference. So just I wanted to change the value and I wanted to print value. So what is the right approach? We should not create local object for accessing this x variable. Always this method should work for the objects using which this method is called. If I use the first object, access x variable from first object. If I call by using second object, access this x variable from second object. This style of program development is called what? Dynamic nature. That's what the last class, last point we have discussed. Now, today actually our target is JVM. Before learning JVM, I want to ask one small program. First, let us complete it and then go for next topic. I'm writing class example. In this class, I have private int x. I declare the variable as private. Inside this method, I can define two methods. One is static type method m1. Okay, one method is static type method m1. Another method is non-static type method m2. Two methods I have created. Now I want to access this x variable in both the methods. I want to access x variable in both the methods. How can we access? Can anybody can help me? Can I access non-static variable inside static method directly by its name? Can I access non-static variable inside non-static method directly by its name? Come on, I ask question, respond. Can I access non-static variable inside non-static method directly by its name? Can I access non-static variable inside static method directly by its name? Yes or no? No. Compiler will throw error. What is the compile time error? Non-static variable cannot be referenced from static context. Everyone tell me, how can I access non-static variable? How can I access non-static variable inside static method? Tell me. By creating object. How to create object? Example E1 equal to, what do you write? New example. Then system.out.println E1.x. Now, is it possible to access non-static variable inside static method directly? No. I must create object. Can I access non-static variable in non-static method directly? Yes. Directly we can access. Then tell me now, think about test class. Class test. Public static void main of string array args. Open bracket. Tell me now, I am creating example E1 equal to new example. Okay, non-static variable available where? Inside object. Now, the x variable provided memory in this E1 object. I'm creating one more object, example E2 equal to new example. Okay, now again x variable memory provided in second object. Now I'm calling E1.m1, E2.m, E2.m. Now I'm calling E1 dot, E1 dot, sorry, E1 dot M2. Next I'm calling E2 dot M2. Okay, here I'm changing the values of the object E1 dot x equal to 15, E2 dot x equal to 17 I have written. Now you please tell me what is the output you will get from this program. If I compile, is there any compile error in this program? First identify. Okay, I created object 1, I created object 2, I modify object 1 x value, I modified object 2 x value, then I am accessing M1 method by using E1, E2 object. I am accessing M2 method by using E1, E2 object. First identify, are there any compiled errors in the test class main method? If no compiled error, tell me what is the output displayed here from M1. Because inside M1 method I have written SOPLN, output should come. Here also SOPLN is there, output should come. Bolo, what is the output here? E1.M1, what is the output? 15. Boys, answer. 15? 15? Boys, come on, tell me, 15? Another answer. Confirm. 15. Okay. Next, E2.17. Nice. Next, E1.M2. What is the output for E1.M2? 17. E1.M2, how 17? Huh? E1.M2 output. In M2 method, read X value from which object? E1 or E2? What is the E1 object value? Then why you are confused? What is your problem? What is the answer? 15. Next, go to M2 method. Inside M2 method, read X value. From where? Current object. Who is the current object? E2. What is the output? 17. Correct? Correct? 15, 17, 15, 7. Right? Everyone, confirm? This is written test exam. Online students, right? This is the written test exam on the topics I have explained. Definitely in the exam you will have what is the output from below program. This is the question will be given. What will you answer? That's what you have to confirm. 15, 17, 15, 7. Correct? అరే కరెక్టా కాదా మీరే చెప్పండిరా వై యూ డౌట్ఫుల్ యూ ఓన్లీ సో సెడ్ 15, 17, 15, 17. Now you are saying again looking at seriously. అవునా కాదా అవునా కాదా cross check again. Compiled error because private variable. Thank you, Rabav. First, it is a compiled error. E1.x, x variable is private. How can I access? Saujanya, super. It is a compiled error first. This line is not compiled. That's what you have to identify. That identification will get by practice. If you are practicing sitting silently looking at the screen and expecting me to tell daily answers, how will you are expecting to pass interviews? In interview written test exam, people will give question like this and asking what is output. So if you write private, compiler throw error, E1.x, E2.x compiled error. Okay. So Saujanya, I corrected. Remove private. And then next. Is there any still compiled error? If no compiled error, tell me output. Everyone said 15, 17, 15, 17. Is it right or wrong? Still, is there any compiled error? Change Abra? Online students, no response. This is wrong answer. Answer is 0, 0. Write down this program and find out why 0, 0. Right. What is the output from below program? 15, 17 wrong answer. 0, 0 is the right answer. Why 0, 0 right answer? Find out. Try, huh? You try. I will also explain, but first you try. If you don't try and just sitting silently, you will get no knowledge. You are wasting your time and money. This kind of programs only will be there in exam. There is no twist question. Simple like this programs will be there. And this kind of question, I mean, coding only will be there in the company also. Project development also has the same questions. Only names are changed. Class name, variable name, method name changed, but concept is same. What are you doing? Are you finding output by using your eyes or by drawing memory? Every time I am saying draw memory, at least one time accept my request. Leave your laziness, draw memory, so that you'll find correct flow of execution of the program to find correct output. Don't use your eyes, use pen paper. Example, one you can new example, meaning what? Draw object. Example, you took a new example, draw object. E1 dot x equal to 15, meaning what? Storing value in x in E1. Go to E1 object, change x value 0 to 15. Draw memory, go on. Don't sit silently. Don't feel that I am your servant. You are my boss. Don't expect me to do everything. Can you tell me what happened here? E1 variable is created. చెప్పాలి అలా సైలెంట్ కూర్చుంటే నేను ఎలా అర్థం చేసుకోవాలి? వాట్ షుడ్ ఐ అండర్స్టాండ్ ఫ్రమ్ యువర్ సైలెన్స్? నెక్స్ట్ వాట్ హ్యాపెన్? న్యూ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ వాట్ హ్యాపెన్? Object is created with reference 1010 with a variable x with value 0. I never scold you know in this 35 days. Then why you are getting fear as if every day I am beating you like anything? Try to answer. Then 1010 stored in E1 pointing. What next? Next example E2. What happened? E2 variable is created. Another new object is created with reference 2020. Again, one more copy of memory of x. One more copy memory of x with value 0. Then 2020 stored in E2 pointing to it. And tell me, everyone have done these two lines like this memory drawn? If not, boys, if not, write down. I'll wait. Anybody has to write? Everyone written up? I will come and check your notes now. If I see you didn't write, you have to answer to me. Definitely I'll check now after explanation. If not completed, right, I'll wait. Should I wait? Everyone written? Re Babu, re. Written? Same. 2 objects written, everyone. Today I'll check your notes. Next, E1 dot x equal to 15, meaning always assignment operator you must read from right to left. 15 stored in x variable in E1 pointing object. 0 replaced with 15. Next, storing 17 in x variable in E2 pointing object. In E2 pointing object, x0 replaced with 17. Everyone done up to here? Completed? If not, do along with me. I will check your notes now. Pakka. I'll come each and every person. No boys, no girls, no 33% reservation. I will give one more program. That program output, you should tell without mistakes. Same program with small change I will give. Now tell me now, what is the meaning of E1.M1? Execute no param M1 method from E1 object, E1 class. Method. Is method available inside the object? No. Method is available in the class. What is E1 class? Example. In example class, search for M1 method. And tell me, M1 method is what method? Static method execute for object or common to all objects? Common to all objects means, is this object reference passed or not passed? Common to all objects. Common to all objects means the object reference is passed into this method or not passed? Common, common. Common and object required or not required? Not required, na? If we want to execute specific to one object, then object is required. I am here to execute common to all students. Which student is available, not available, I don't care. As per my time, I will start the class. Tell me now. What is this method? Static. Why inside static method, we cannot access non-static variable? Why we cannot access non-static variable inside static method? Because static method doesn't take object. When object is not taking, this x variable should access from first object or second object? Got clarity? Yeah? Static method is meant for executing common to all objects. Then it doesn't receive current object reference, doesn't store in this method, doesn't use this dot x. Whereas in non-static method, what is the meaning of it? Search for M2 method and execute M2 method from E1 class. In E1 class, M2 method available as static or non-static? Non-static method should execute common to all objects or specific to current object. Current object reference is passed. Current object reference is passed because this method should execute for E1. Then inside non-static method, this keyword available. Inside this keyword, 10 is stored. And here, this dot x is read and reading the x value from current object. Output is coming what? 15. Now, inside static method, current object reference is not passed. Inside static method, this keyword not available. Hence, we cannot access non-static variable directly. Then how can access? By creating object. Tell me, is this E1 and the E1 are both same? No. This is main method E1 and this is M1 method E1. Here what happened? Again E1 variable is created. Yes or no? Equal to new example. Again Another new object is created with reference what? 30, 30. With X variable, internal value is what? 0. Now 30, 30 stored here. Point. Now tell me, what is the meaning of E1.x? Read X value from what is E1? Main method E1 or M1 method E1? What is M1 method E1 value? Then what is the output? Why you said 15 then? Because I follow my eyes, sir. E1, M1, 0. And you don't see the logic available inside the method. If I write E1.M1, E1 value will come. You have to see the logic. E1.x means read X value from E1 pointing object. E1 pointing to local object. How this main method object will be available here? Not possible. So output is what? 0. Then control come back to main method. Then next you call E1.M2. Tell me again what happened? Search for M1 method in E1 class example available as a static or non-static. M1 method is what method? Static method can receive the current object as argument? No. Static method has this keyword? No. Then can we access X variable directly? No. Then what to do? Create object. Tell me, is this line second time executed? No, na, yes, sir. You call second time, na? When I call second time, is this line second time executed, na? Then what happened? Again? Again? One more object is created. E1 variable memory again created. Again another object is created with reference what? 40, 40. X variable memory created with value 0. And then 40, 40 stored here, pointing to. When I write E1.x, when second time call the method, what is the object available in E1? Read X value from E1. E1 object is what? Second object. From second object also, what is the output coming? 0. Now my question, if I call static method by using object, is it useful or useless? Useless, because this object is not passed, object is not used. So calling method by using object is useless. Then what is the right way of calling static method by using class name? Example.m1 and again what? Example.m1. Any number of times you call, you have to use what? Class name dot. So this is the right way of calling static method, because calling method by using object, calling static method by using object is waste, because object reference is not passed and the current object is not used inside M1. Everyone understand the first point? So tell me, calling non-static method by using object, is it waste or mandatory? Waste. Non-static method. Calling non-static method by using object is waste or mandatory? Mandatory. Then current object reference is passed, stored in this, read from 10 object 15. Second time tell me, again control is going to example class M2 method with what reference? 2020, 2020, 2020 stored again in as many times you call M2 method, those many times this keyword created with reference 2020. Next time X value reading from where? 2020 object. And what is the output available in 2020 object X value? 70. Okay, now? So repeat again. Inside static method, do you have this keyword? No. Inside static method, can we receive the current object? No. Calling static method by using current object or by using object, useful or useless? Useless. Because its reference is not passed. Now my question, carefully think and tell. Which method logic is static nature code, dynamic nature code? Static method M1 logic is static nature or dynamic nature. M2 method logic static nature or dynamic nature. This discussion already we made last class. Continuation to this one. Continuation to last class. Bolo. M1 method is? Why? Because keyword is static or logic is static? Logic is static. Why? Always X value reading from current object, local object, not from our runtime objects. M1 inside M1 method, X value always read from local object, not from runtime objects coming from main method. So tell me, I want you make this M1 method dynamic. Means this X value should not read from local object. X value should read from first object and second object. How can we make this M1 method dynamic? Ela. How can I make M1 method dynamic? Dynamic ఎలా చేస్తారు? M1 మెథడ్లో కూడా ఎక్స్ వాల్యూని E1, E2 ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ నుంచి రీడ్ చేయాలి. I should not create local object in M1 method. I should read X value from E1 object and E2 object available in the main method. ఎలా ఆలోచించండి. Like how M2 method, M1 method also should read values from main method objects. Make M1 method as non-static. Huh? No, it should be static. That is one option. Because already M2 is non-static, right? I don't want to make M1 as a static, non-static. I want M1 should be static, but it should read X value from E1, E2 objects. How? Add method should add the given values. What you did? You don't want to add your own local values. You want to take values from the method caller. What you did? You created add method with parameters. What type of values you want to take? You define the method with the type of parameter. Add of int a comma int b. Now tell me, M1 method should access main method object. If you want to access main method object, I must pass that main method object as an argument to M1 method. If it is a non-static method, the object is passed as argument current object. As a current object, it will be passed and stored in this implicit parameter. But static method has implicit parameter? No, because it doesn't have implicit parameter. You must define explicit parameter and pass argument as argument, pass object as argument. Repeat again, E1 variable should not pointing to local object. It should pointing to first object or it should pointing to second object. Then how can we receive object into E1 variable as a argument? So how can we create static method as a dynamic method for reading non-static variable from runtime object? You must create static method as parameterized method. Got clarity? Yeah? Right on. Write the diagram. Create two objects. E1.m1, create E1, reference 0, reading 0. E2.m1, again another new object is created in M1 with the same name E1. E1.x second time reading value from second object. Write output 15, 17, strike mark, write 0, 0. This E1.m1, E2.m1 is equal to example.m1, example.m2. That's why I left the space in middle. Both are equal. Done? Down I have written E1.m2, E2.m2. Whatever arrow marks there on the screen, everything should be in your notes. From this program, we should derive 2 points. What are the 2 points? Static method doesn't receive current object as argument. Static method doesn't have this keyword because static method meant for executing common to all objects. Okay. What is the point number 2? If you access non-static variable, inside static method, if you access non-static variable by creating local object, then that method becomes what? Static nature code. Always read value from current object, not from runtime object. Solution, you must define a parameterized static method to receive the objects from main method. Inside method logic, you must read X value from the parameter object, argument object. Okay, right. Point number 1. Okay, can you write heading? 2 problems in above program. 2 problems in above program. 2 problems in the above program. Two problems in the above program. From today onwards, you will have a study hour, core Java study hour 9 to 10. I will share online link. Everyone should join and study and let me know if you have any doubts. What you have to study? Same topic again. Like how in school, how you have study hour, whatever in the class, your teacher explained classwork, same thing you are practicing, studying, by hearting, remembering the sentences, na? Same thing. So I will call during the 9 to 10 study hour, I will call anyone. You must able to unmute and should explain the program again. Whoever not join, you should answer tomorrow why you didn't join. Understand? Daily 9 to 11, sorry, 9 to 10, because our sleeping time starts by 10. So 9 to 10, you have to join study hour. I will share the link. You have to join. Compulsory you have to join. I will take daily attendance. Whoever not join, next day I will not allow you to the class. Even to the online students, online also. You cannot join class online also. I will restrict, I'll create a restriction. Based on the okay, based on the you joined, I will restrict you. So be careful. Everyone should join and you should study. There is no other option. Clear? Next. Yesterday I told you I'll share the feedback form. Today I'm going to share. Okay. You have to share your feedback and you should know about yourself and you should know, I should know about myself. From you only. From you only, you should know about yourself. And also, I should know myself from you. What you are doing, how are you doing, how I am doing. So if you find any difficulties from my side, please let me know. Honestly, share your feedback. Clear? And I will not take your name. Again saying, I will not take your name in the class. I will not show your feedback in the class. I will read myself. I will understand myself. I will try to improve myself to help you. But you try to give honestly. Where is the mistake happening in the class? Okay, na? Right. Right. First point. Static method is meant for executing logic common to all objects. Hence, it doesn't have implicit parameter this. It doesn't have implicit parameter this, comma. It doesn't receive current object as argument. It doesn't take current object as argument. Full stop. Hence, hence, we cannot access non-static variable directly by its name. Directly by its name, comma, we must use object explicitly. We must use object explicitly. Second problem. Like in above program, if you create local object, like in above program, if we create local object, for accessing non-static variable, comma, non-static variable, non-static variable always accessed from local object, comma, this code becomes static nature code, comma, useless code, comma, useless code, comma, useless code. Okay. Solution. For accessing, can you start the statement like this? Inside static method for accessing. Statement correction. Inside static method. What did I say? Inside static method for accessing. What did I read again? Solution. Have written solution. Underline. What they written? First word. Inside static method for accessing non-static variable. For accessing non-static variable. We must receive runtime objects. We must receive runtime objects as argument from main method. From main method. Read again. Actually, you are just writing what I'm saying, or are you visualizing the code? What is the problem? Did you all visualize? And solution visualized? You just writing what I'm saying means it's waste. Okay, don't be a lazy, don't be a statue. Statue doesn't have any thought process, just it is watching. Ante. Don't be statue. Use. What is the problem? Static method should read X value from E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, future objects. If you directly write example E1, new example, always reading from local object, then what is the purpose of that M1 method? Waste. It's a useless code. What type of code you have to write? You must always read x inside static method or inside non-static method. You must read x value always from runtime object. Okay, ATM you take. ATM should take its own account number. You should read the card. That means you are inserting the card, means you are giving the card as an argument. So static method doesn't have implicit parameter this. Hence, you must create explicit parameter. Static method doesn't have this keyword inside. So you should create parameter explicitly. Okay. What is written? Read again. Solution. Read, continue. Inside static method for reading non-static variable from runtime objects, we must, okay, come again. Inside static method for reading non-static variable, inside static method for accessing non-static variable, we must receive a runtime objects as argument from main method, full stop. For this purpose, static method should be what type of method? Static method should be parameterized method. Static method must be parameterized method. Static method must be parameterized method, comma. When we call it from main method, when we call it from main method, we must pass object as argument. We must pass object as argument. Down, right down. Redevelop above program. Redevelop above program. Redevelop above program for creating both static method and non-static method, dynamically reading non-static variable value from runtime objects. Those are created in main method. Class example, int x semicolon, static void m1 of, you want to receive different class object or same class object? Which class object you want to take? You want to read x variable of which class? Arey bolo ra. You want to read x variable, non-static variable of which class? Same class. So the parameter should be what? Same class. Example E. And inside what you write? System.out.println E dot x. Close this. Next. Void M2. Should I take any parameter? No, because we have already implicit parameter this of which class? Different class or same class? Same class. Open bracket. And then system.out.println x. This is x, meaning what? You have to write yourself. This is our example class with static method and non-static method. Now create test class for calling these methods. Public static void main of string array args. Inside main method, create example e1 equal to new example. Example e2 equal to new example. Modify e1 dot x value 15, E1 dot E2 dot x value 16 or 17, whatever the number. Then tell me, what is the right way of calling static method? With object or with class name? Class name. Is it parameterized method, non-parameterized? Parameterized. So what I have to do? I should pass E1 object, example dot M1 of E2 object. Next, M2 is static, non-static, non-static. Non-static method should call by using object E1 dot M2, E1 dot M2 and E2 dot M. So this is the program. Now both static, non-static methods are dynamic code, dynamic nature code. Both static, non-static methods are dynamic nature code. I want you draw memory and tell the output. I don't want you tell output by using your eyes. I want with memory. Pen and paper use, draw memory line by line, tell me output. Everyone working again acting same program, right? Previous program, this program, same, only one line difference. You have to motivate yourself to work. Someone coming and forcing you means it's not good. If I come and force you to work, tomorrow onwards, you will not come. Right? You will start getting fear. Boy, if I go to class, this fellow will torture me. He will force me. He will ask me to write. So that feeling should not generate in your mind. You should motivate yourself. I have to work. Small program, Bujji program, I have to work. ఒక్కసారి కాన్సెప్ట్ కనుక క్యాచ్ చేశారా ఇంకా నెక్స్ట్ ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ ఆఫ్టర్ ఆల్ you have to just catch this flow of execution. All projects are same, no difference. You will not see single line difference also. Exactly same thing will be there. Everyone completed these 2 lines? Help me to write. First, which class is loaded into JVM? Main test class. Because you run Java test. There are 2 classes, 2 Java files. You compile test class, execute test class. Then go to main method. Inside main method, example E1 equal to new example. Then what happened? E1 variable memory created. And then what? Object created with reference 1010. Then what? X variable memory created with value 0. 1010 stored in E1 point. Okay, na? Next, E2 variable is created. Then object is created with reference 2020. X variable memory created with what value? 0. 2020 stored, pointing to it. Everyone has done same way? If not, ask yourself where you missed. This is not the first time. This is the 100th time we are doing same flow. Where you missed, why you are unable to do. Judge yourself. Okay, now analyze yourself. Ask yourself where you are missing. What is your problem? Okay, next. If still you not understand, ask me after class. You are leaving class first, I am leaving class first. Who is leaving class first? You are leaving first. I am waiting till all students left, offline, online. Both. Every day I am waiting. At least one person will come and ask any question. No, asli waiting, 8 o'clock. It's like a race gurram. You are waiting, 8, legs, started moving. Blood pressure is increased. Running away. ఈరోజు మన క్లాస్ అర్థమైందా అర్థం కాలేదా ఏమైనా క్వశ్చన్స్ అడగాల వీడిని ఓకే నో అనలైజేషన్ నో ప్రాబ్లం I will be available till last student leave the premises. So get the doubts, clear the doubts and go. E1.x equal 15, meaning storing 50 in x variable in E1 object. 0 replace with 50. Next, E2.x equal to 17. 17 stored in x in E2. What happened? In E2 object x, 0 replace with 17. Okay, now? Then next line. What is the meaning of this statement? E1 is going as a current object or argument object? Here E1 is what? Argument object. Why? Because you written in the parenthesis. By passing E1 as a argument 1010, M1 method of which class? Example class executed. Control come to example class, M1 method. With reference what? 1010. Tell me. This 1010 is the argument. Whenever you call method, always first what statement executed? I am asking question. Always first which statement executed? Already underline, na? What is this example he called? Parameter. Always first parameter is executed. Parameter variable memory created with reference what? 1010. Of course, this E1 variable 1010 pointing to this object. From M1 method, parameter E pointing to E1 object 1010. then logic execution. Always logic will be the second statement. What is the meaning of this line? E dot x means read the x value from 1010 object. What the E1 object value in 1010, x value in 1010? 15. Output is 15. Everyone understand how to get 15? Tell me now. M1 method, static method, M1 method logic is static nature coda, dynamic nature. Because it is reading x value from local object or runtime object. Runtime. After method execution completed, control come back to main method. When control come back to main method, is the parameter still there or destroyed? Destroyed. And reference to object is also destroyed. समझ में आया? Have you written same arrow marks? Have you written arrow marks same or not? If not right, don't lose your body nerve system. Nerve system should be active. Your eye should see, array, I didn't write this arrow mark, array, let me write. Now, after method execution completed, control come back. After control come back, parameter is destroyed. Did you destroy cross mark have written? That's what you did, what I did, compare. If you did any mistake, correct it until now the reference is gone on this arrow mark. You have tried cross mark. Reference is gone. Then next tell me. Example dot M1 of E2. Again, is it a different statement or same statement? Same statement. What is changed? Object. By passing E2 object. What is E2 object? It is also argument object. By passing E2 object as an argument, M1 method of example class is called. M1 method of example class is called. Now again control come to the same M1 method with another reference what? 2020. Have you written this arrow mark? No. Then write. If yes, appreciate. Wow, wonderful, super. You have written correctly. Some excitement. When you correct it, you should feel happy. Yes, I have written correctly. When you write wrong, I missed it. Next time I should not miss. Motivation. Excitement, motivation. No feeling sad. Never feel sad because you are in the learning process. So some mistakes will be there. When you commit mistake, you should say, I missed it. Next time I should not commit mistake. Like that, you should keep telling. Next, tell me now. Here, what is the first statement always in the method? Fourth time, fifth time asking, still you are not ready to answer. Whenever you call method, always in the method, what is first executed? Parameter. Now parameter memory again created with reference what? 2020. And then now this method M2 second time is pointing to which object? E2 object, 2020 object. Then logic executed. This time E variable pointing to which object? 2020. In a 2020 object, X value is what? 17. So output will be 17. The same output I am writing here. Now tell me, M1 method is worked for, M1 method logic is worked for past argument object value. So it is a dynamic nature. After method execution completed, control come back to main method. क्या होता? Parameter is destroyed. Reference to this object is also destroyed. Reference to this object is also destroyed. Reference to this object is also destroyed. Everyone understand? ఇలాగే చేశారు మీరు కూడా? Same way have you done? At least one in the class? Anybody have done same way with memory parameter, memory creation, arrow mark, coming back, destroying? Destroying not the remaining did it? Okay, destroying corrected? Have written cross mark? Okay, then tell me now. How this one will be executed, explain. E1.m2. Have you all completed non-static methods? Completed? If not, I will wait. Completed or no? Tell me now. E1.m2. Here, observe here, in static method, class name separately there, object separately there. But in non-static method, class name and object both together available in a single name called what? E1. E1 refers to what? Execute no parameter M2 method from which class? E1 pointing class. By passing E1 object reference. What is the E1 object reference? 10. Now tell me. Here, E1 is current object or argument object? Current object. Here terminology is current object. E1 is current object. Why the term current object? Why the term argument object? I will give clarity in the next slide. Now tell me, E1 is a current object. Current object reference is passed as an argument and example class M2 method is called. Control comes to example class M2 method with reference what? 1010. Now always in the method, what is first executed? Parameter. Here do you have any parameter? Implicit parameter is there. What the parameter? This. Now this memory is created with reference what? 1010. And now what happened? Now from M2 method, this variable is pointing to the 1010 object. Tell me, M1 method E dot, M2 method this dot, both are same or not? Yes. Okay. Now X variable reading from 1010 object. What is the output? 15. You got output 15. Okay. Previously, we created local object. Now local object is not there. Here we have our own, we are receiving the runtime object, X. Next, tell me now. After method execution completed, control come back here and then this memory is destroyed. Reference is destroyed. Reference is gone. Reference is gone. Reference is gone. Everyone understand? Next, tell me. Now you call E2.M2. What happened? Again, by passing E2 object as a current object, E2 is what? Current object. By passing current object reference 2020, again M2 method is called. Second time M2 method not executed for the same object. It is executed for the new runtime object. This keyword created with what value? 2020. Now the same method M2 second time is pointing to the second object. Now the same logic is executed for second object. Value is what? 17, 7. Okay, now after method execution completed, control come back and then parameter is destroyed, reference is gone, reference is gone, reference is gone, reference is gone. So if you work with memory, you will have full clarity and coming programs will be easily you will understand. Without memory, with your eyes, if you are working, you cannot find the output. Any number of times I explain also, there is a confusion. Visualization is very important. If no visualization, nothing you understand. If you have any doubt, please ask. In this program, flow of execution, any point, if you have a question, doubt, please ask. No doubt, sir? Paka? Online students? कुछ सवाल है? सवाल है तो पूछो, डिस्कस करेंगे. Is this the same process access inside static method? Hooray, Gajanan. Did you join class late? Okay, don't join tomorrow onwards late. Okay, now? Inside static method, this keyword will not be there, no? Write down question. 2 questions I am asking, answer. To a static method. To a static method. Object is passed as dash object. Fill in the blank yourself. To a static method, object is passed as dash object. Huh? Argument object. Write down, underline argument object. Next, 2A question number 2. 2A non-static method. 2A non-static method. The object is passed as dash object. Argument or current? Current object. Next. Which method? Which method compulsory implicitly takes object as argument? Write down, question write down. Which method compulsory takes object as argument? Which method? Statica? Static or non-static? Which method compulsory takes an object as argument? Static method. Static method compulsory take object as argument. ఆలోచించండి మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి. The question I have asked, you are not understanding. You are relating argument. Try to observe. You are passing current object as an argument only. To a non-static method, you are passing current object as argument. Okay? To a static method, to pass object as argument, you must create explicit parameter. If you create parameter, pass an object as an argument. If you don't create parameter, no need to pass object as an argument. Understand? To a non-static method, object going as argument, optional or mandatory? I created a method called M1 here. Can I call this M1 method directly like this? No. What is required? E1.M1 when I write, is E1 object is passing to this M1 method or not? This method is having special terminology called current object. But this object is going into this method as argument only, na? Yes or no? Implicitly we have parameter called what? This. Now, current object of this method is passed into this method as argument stored inside this. Now, I am creating static method. Static void M2 method. Tell me now, can I call M2 method directly without object reference or not? Yes. If we call M2 method, is there any argument is passing? No. Either as a current object as argument, any object is passing? No. Read my question. What the question? Which method? Which method compulsory takes object as argument or takes object as argument? Which method? Static or non-static? Non-static. Non-static, comma, that object is past object or argument object? Sorry, past object or current object? Current object, comma, that object is current object. That object is current object, using which we call this method. Using which we call this method. समझ में आया? Now, I am asking one question, everyone think and tell. Write a question. To pass, create a static method to pass example class To pass example class, two objects as an argument. Example class, two objects as an argument. ఆన్సర్ ఎలా క్రియేట్ చేస్తారు? మా I want to take two objects as an argument. What should I do? Two objects ని ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్ తీసుకోవాలంటే ఎన్ని పారామీటర్స్ రాయాలి? ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఒక ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్, రైట్? One parameter, one argument, two parameter, two argument, three parameter, three arguments. How many arguments I am asking? Two. Then how many parameters? Write down. Create static method with two parameters. Example E1 comma example E2, open bracket. Next question. Inside this method, inside this static method, hey, don't write program, right? Why are writing program? I said only question answer. What is the question? You must define two parameters, right? Katham. Next question, write down. Just I am converting question as a program for your visibility. Next, inside this method, inside this static method, how can we read non-static variable from first object and second object? How can I read non-static variable value from first object and second object? ఎలా? ఇప్పుడు to the M1 method we have passed two objects as argument. Now I want read value from first object, read value from second object. How can I read? System dot out dot println E1 dot x. First object is E1 dot x. Next, system dot out dot println E2 dot x. Second object E2 dot x. Correct? Write down. By using parameter names, by using parameter names E1 dot x and E2 dot x. మళ్ళీ అడుగుతున్న క్వశ్చన్ జాగ్రత్తగా ఆలోచించండి. Which method takes one object compulsory as an argument? Static or non-static? Write down. How can we pass? How can we pass two objects as argument to a non-static method? How can we pass? Write down question. How can we pass two objects of example class to a non-static method? To a non-static method of example class. How can we pass two objects to a non-static method? How can we pass two objects of example class to a non-static method of example class? Object ni argument పంపించాలంటే parameter ఉండాలి, right? Now tell me, how many parameters I have to write here? ఎంతసేపు ఆలోచిస్తారా? How long you will think రా బాబు? I want to pass two objects to the non-static method. Then how many parameters? No parameter. If I don't create no parameter, what happened? Object created. Using this keyword, how many objects will receive? Using this keyword, how many objects received? One object. How many objects I am asking to receive? Two objects, not first two, then next second. No. One method called two objects should come. You call M2, two objects should come. Then how many parameters? One parameter, one object, na? I need two objects to receive into M2 method. Then how many parameters required? Two parameters. Non-static method should contain how many parameters? Non-static method definitely take one object as an argument with the implicit parameter this. How many objects total you want to receive? Two objects. Then how many parameters I should create to this method? Two parameters. Mummy. Yesterday your father gave you 10 rupees. Okay, na? Total you need 20 rupees. How much more money your father should give now? 10 rupees only. Already yesterday 10 rupees given, na? 10 plus 10. Already available 10. Extra one more 10. Totally 20 rupees. Okay, na? Now non-static method wanted to receive two objects as an argument. Already there is a implicitly one parameter called what? This, comma. How many extra parameters I have to write? Only one. Tell me, totally how many parameters I should create? One. Compiler already adding one parameter. I should write only one parameter. So what do you write now here? Example E. That's all. If I write example E, how many parameters available? One or two, na? Two. What is the first parameter? Excellent. This is always first parameter. Now second parameter is whatever you have written. Full statement is what? Void M2. Array, again you are listening. Fill in the blanks. Tell me. Void M2. What is there after? This is a parameter name. Type out cheptadu. Who will tell the type of the parameter? Example this, comma, example E. Two parameters. Example this, comma, example E. Two parameters are available. First parameter is null parameter, final parameter. This is what type of variable? Final. What do you write? Final example this, comma, example E. Understood? Tell me. Next, write what is the answer? What is the question? To a non-static method, how can be okay for passing two objects to a non-static method? How many? What is the question I gave? For pass, what is the question? How can we pass two objects of example class to a non-static method of example class? Answer. How many parameters I should define? Define, write down, define non-static method with one parameter of example class. One parameter of type example class. Answer completed or not? No. One parameter and one object only will come, na? Then how can you get another object? But tell that one. Then, comma, then, implicitly, compiler adds this as a first parameter. Next question. Next question. How many objects are coming into this method? How many objects are coming into non-static method? Two objects. Or two objects are coming as arguments, one object coming as current object.
One object as current object, second object as argument. To a static method, both objects are arguments. To a non-static method, one object as current, another object as argument. Okay, write on question. Second question. How can we read non-static variable value? How can we read non-static variable value from those two objects in this non-static method? How can we read non-static variable values from those two objects in this non-static method? Bolo. First point, into a non-static method, current object passed as a first argument. Current object is passed as a first argument, comma, stored in this. Next point, second object is passed as what? Argument. Wait. Okay. Second object is passed as an argument and stored in parameter. Stored in parameter. Which parameter? Explicit parameter, our parameter. Third point. For reading non-static variable from current object. For reading non-static variable. Are you writing non-static variable or NSV na? For reading non-static variable value from current object, we must access non-static variable either directly by its name or by using this dot. Or by using this dot. Next bullet point. For reading non-static variable value from argument object, for reading non-static variable value from argument object, we must access non-static variable by using parameter name dot. By using parameter name dot. By using parameter name dot as shown below. Write on this program. And side we will create test class. ఈ ఒక్క ప్రోగ్రామ్ని ఫుల్గా ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయాలి. There will be a peak confusion. Still, you have to practice. How to access static method? By using class name.
example dot m1 of e1 comma e2. Okay, 1 minute. Class name dot m1 of e1 comma e2. Both e1 e2 objects are going as argument. Here e1 e2 are considered as argument objects, AOs, argument objects. E1 dot m2 of e2. Here e1 is current object, e2 is argument object. Close main method, close class. I want all the people draw memory of this program. Tell me output, flow of execution. Everyone should try, sir. Everyone should try fully. It's the same as the previous program. There is no difference. Previously, you worked with one object. Now you are working with the two objects. ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఎలా రన్ అవుతుంది ఏంటి జాగ్రత్తగా అర్థం చేసుకొని చేయండి. సేమ్ ప్రీవియస్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఎలాగో ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్ కూడా అంతే. ప్రీవియస్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్, ఇక్కడ రెండు ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్. ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్కి వెళ్ళింది, ఇక్కడ రెండు ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్కి వెళ్తున్నాయి. Previously 1 parameter, this program 2 parameters. Identify that. Completed? Just 2 lines. Now tell me, what is the flow you have written? First, E1 variable created. Again and again I'm saying flow is same. Only you have to adopt the flow. X variable, memory created with value 0. 10 stored here, pointing to it. Next, E2 variable memory created with a reference 2020, X variable 0. 2020 stored. Okay, now? Then E1 dot X equal to 15 means 0 replaced with 15. E2 dot X equal to 16 means 0 replaced with 16. Okay. The next example dot M1 of E1 comma E2 means by passing E1 object and E2 object references, M1 method of example class is called. Into M1 method, two references came. What are the two? 1010 comma 2020. Have written same. Now, in a method, always first what executed? Parameters. First, E1 is created with reference 1010, pointing to first object. Then, parameter E2 created with reference what? 2020, pointing to second object. So, main method E1, E2, M1 method E1, E2 are both the same. No, they are local to M1, these are local to main. And then, now logic execution started. E1 dot X 15 and 16. Okay. And then method execution completed, control come back, parameters are destroyed, references are gone. Next, E1 dot M2 of E2. M2 method is non-static method. Then E1 object and E2 object both are passed into this method. E1 passed as a current object. E2 is passed as a argument object. Here also we have two parameters. First parameter is this. Inside this, 1010 stored. Inside parameter E, 2020 stored. Now this keyword pointing to the same first object. Parameter E pointing to the second object. Then logic execution started. SOP ln X means this dot X. Output is what? 15. SOP ln this dot X means what? 50, 15 only, 1010 object. E dot X means what? Parameter 2020. What value? 60. All the people try to think. After method execution completed, control come back, parameters are destroyed, references are gone. Now think and tell me now. The program without drawing memory, by drawing memory, clear difference is there in your mind? By drawing memory, are able to connect where to start, where to go? Okay. First, test class is loaded. Second, main method. And then example, then E dot X, E2 dot, then example, then E dot. So the flow of the execution, if you don't visualize by drawing memory, so Java become very difficult. Why in college Java is the most toughest language? Because you don't know this flow and memory diagram there. Java is working with memory diagrams only, not more than that. Java is a concept. Okay, na? Will you all practice? Paka? Sure. I want to ask one last question. Ready? Based on this last question, I will give one assignment for tonight, 9 to 10. You have to work, revise these all points. All these points, notes I will upload. Okay? Read that notes. Following by one program I will share. That program output by drawing diagram, you have to find output. Okay? I'm giving you quick question. Look, I'm creating a class called example, open bracket. In this class, I have taken two variables, int x, semicolon, int y, semicolon. Now, I'm defining one method M1, static or non-static? Non-static means Today class, what is the meaning of non-static? Up to now, non-static and non-static. Yesterday, today, you have added some extra points. Non-static means immediately you have to visualize implicit parameter this, not this. Implicit parameter this. Now I'm adding one more parameter E. Totally, how many parameters available? 2 parameters. Here I'm writing system.out.println x plus double quotes plus E dot x. Sorry, x plus y. Next, system.out.println E dot x plus double quotes plus E dot y. The statement's meaning same or different? Inside M1 method, SOPLN xy, SOPLN E dot x plus E dot y. Meaning same or different? Different. What is the meaning of SOPLN x plus y? Read xy from current object. Read second line, read xy from argument object. How can you decide which is current object, which is argument object? By seeing the method definition or by seeing method caller? Where methods are decided? Current object, argument object decided in method definition or method calling? Method calling. Method calling means main method, class, test, class, test, class, test, open bracket, public static void main of string array args, string array args. Inside main method, I am creating two objects. Example E1 equal to new example. Next, example E2 equal to new example. I am asking one question. Try to think and tell me. Don't use your brain. Utilize the knowledge I shared. In a main method, now these two objects E1, E2 are they local objects? Are they current objects? Or are they argument objects? Since yesterday we are using three terminology: local object, current object, argument object. At that position, the two objects are dash type objects. Current objects. To whom? Current object to whom? What is the current object? The object using which you call the non-static method. Did you call any non-static method? Then how can I say current object? Which is current object? E1 current or E2 current? Cannot confirm. For a main method, these two objects are what? Local object. At this minute, these two objects are just local objects. Everybody understand? What is a local object? The object created inside a method using local referenced variable E1, E2 are called what? Local object. Can I share my method local object to another method? Yes. How many ways we can share? Two ways. Number one, as a current object. Number two, as a argument object. Samajh mein aaya? We can share the object to another method in two ways. Number one, as a current object. Number two, as argument object. Now I am writing E1 dot M1 of E2. Bolo. Is this line compiled or not? E1 dot M1 of E2. Is this line compiled or not compiled? Compiled. What is the meaning of this statement? Search for which side? Right to left. Search for E2 is a what type of argument? What type of object? E2. What type of object? Example. Search for example parameter M1 method in E1 class. What is the E1 class? In example class, example parameter M1 method available? Yes. Compiled. Here, who is current object? Bolo. Hello. Who is the current object? E1. Who is the current argument object? E2. Today is the last class. Please. Really. Today is the last class of horrible class. I already told you, heart is very dangerous, delicate. If you ignore the heart, he will die. Tomorrow onwards, if you know how the heart is working, nervous system and everything, tomorrow onwards nothing will be there. You have become heart specialist in the world. You have a lot of demand. You are ignoring that heart specialist job, okay? Repeat again. E1 dot M1 of E2 when you write, here the roles of E1, E2 with respect to M1 changed. With respect to M1, E1 is current object, E2 is argument object. Why current object? Why argument object? Positions. Positions.
First chair students, first chair, second chair students, second chair, last chair students, last chair. Positions. Where you sit? Here. Before dot available called current object. In the parenthesis available is called what? Argument. Sir, why, sir? That the positions for just differentiating. Current object, what happened? It is also passed into that method. Argument also will pass into that method. How many objects are going into that method? Two objects, E1 and E2. E1 object is going into M1 method as current object. E2 object going into M1 method as argument object. Now tell me, inside M1 method, XY values read from which object? First of all, tell me, is this M1 method is static nature code or dynamic nature code? Dynamic. Read the values from the argument objects. Now tell me, XY values are reading from which object? Current object, who? E1. Full statement, tell me. Current object, E1. Next line. Swap in E dot X, E dot Y. These two lines, XY values are reading from. Which object? Argument object, which object? E2. Just two words, current object, argument object. Antega. Now, one time if you open your mouth and speak out, you will be connected. As long as you are not talking, you will not be connected. You just make a call to your friend and you are silent. That other side, people who lift the call, what is his position? No, I am torturing, okay? Now I call and silent. Then you are, hello. I don't answer. Then that other person will be disconnected. Again you are calling and silent. Finally what happened? Blocked. Now I am so almost reaching to the state called what? Blocking state. Two words I am asking. You are not answering. If you don't answer, you cannot connect to the subject. Tomorrow onwards, every day, these words only coming. Current object, argument object, current object, argument object. Repeat again. First, with respect to main method, E1, E2 objects are local object. With respect to M1 method calling line, E1, E2 objects are current and argument object. Which object is current? Which object is argument? How can I decide? If I use a object name before a dot, it is current object. If I use an object in the parenthesis, it is called argument object. Now tell me, when I call E1 dot M1 of E2, are both E1, E2 going into this method? Yes, they are stored in first. E1 stored in this, E2 stored in parameter E. Then first line XY reading from E1, second line reading from E2. Understand? I made a call. Okay, I am saying hello. 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 Okay. If you are silently there that side, to whom I can talk? I have to disconnect the phone. Okay. Shall I disconnect? If I disconnect, maximum 3-4 days only will come to the class. After that, Gaya. Very patiently, I am trying to teach you every point. Very, very patiently. Okay, after Corona, I am not teaching this much patience. I am showing lot of patience. Please try to connect. Say one time hello so that I'll be happy this side. Okay. Now tell me, can I write this M1 method call like this? Can I write this M1 method call like this? Is it allowed or not? Why? How? Why there is no error? When I rotate objects, why there is no error? What is the meaning of this statement? Search for, right to left, search for E1 class. What is that example? Search for example parameter M1 method in E2 class. What is the E2 class? Example. Again, control is going to example class. Search for example parameter method M1 in example class. Available? Yes. Tell me, if you are using non-static method whose parameter is same class, you must pass two objects. Okay, na? One object as a current object, another object as a argument object. Then I can call the non-static method. When non-static method of one class have the parameter type of same class, then I can call that method by using two objects. The two objects can be used any order. But output is same or different? Different. When positions are changed, logic is changed or not? And tell me, first line, now second time reading from E2 object. Second line reading from E1 object. First line refers to current object, second line refers to argument object. Now confusion start. Okay, up to now, okay, happily. Sir, it's already 8 o'clock, sir. I'm also feeling hungry. 1 minute. E1 dot M1 of E1. If a class contain non-static method with the same class as a parameter, can I call that method by using same object as a current object and argument object? చేయొచ్చా చేయకూడదా? మీరే అన్నం వండుకొని మీరే తినొచ్చా? Can you prepare the food your own and eat food your own? Any objection? No, it is your food, your wish. Or somebody is preparing and you are eating. That is the one option. Another option is what? You only preparing, you only eating. Tell me, what is the syntax? That's what I am saying. Don't look at the statement and confuse. Read that statement in the English. If you read the statement in Java, you will confuse. Read that statement in English. What is the meaning of it? Right to left. Example parameter M1 method in example class. Example parameter M1 method in example class available. How can you pass same object? What is your problem? I confuse. Don't confuse, Rabbi. Follow the flow. Follow the flow. Now tell me, before dot E1 is what? Current object. In the parenthesis, E1 is what? Argument object. Can I pass same object as a current object and argument object? Yes. Then what happened? Inside M1 method, this parameter and E parameter both are holding same object. Now the doubt, are two lines executed or only one line executed? Faster, you are, give two options, when in the first statement, two lines executed. For second time, two lines executed. Third time, two lines executed or only one line executed? One line executed. Worst fellow. In the middle, how the program execution is terminated and coming out, That's what you are showing your extra talent. Skipping from the first line when you call, two lines executed. Second line, second time, two lines executed. Third time also, what should happen? Two lines should execute. Have written any condition inside? No. But confusion, sorry, confusion. Who will have confusion? Only you have confusion. Compiler JVM don't have confusion. What the JVM follow? This dot x, so this dot y. Who is there in this? E1. Read and print E1 object. Second one is what? E dot x, E dot y. Who is in E1? Same E1 object. Again, second time also reading values from where? Same object. Are you following? Tell me, when you define a non-static method in the class with the same class as a parameter type, then I can call that method by using two different objects of that class in any order, or also I can call that method by using same object as current object and argument object. Then method logic executes, all lines are executed on the same object E1. How many times? Two times. First time with the help of this keyword, second time with the help of what? Parameter. 3 points I told. Fourth point you tell me. Bolora. E2 dot M1 of E2. Tell me, who is the current object? E2. Who is the argument object? E2. Both objects are going into, one object is going into this exam M1 method two times. And then first line executing for E2, second line also executing for E2. So this is the most important program for understanding collections, for understanding multi-threading, for understanding IO streams, for understanding advanced Java, for understanding projects. You go anywhere, this concept will be there. Today I explain you three programs. First program, static method with local object, static nature code. Then how you solve the problem? By using parameter. Second program, how can you create method with a two parameter? I want to take two objects as an argument. Static method with a two parameters, non-static method with a one parameter. Then next point, last point. If I create a non-static method inside a class with the same class as a parameter, then how to call this method? By using two separate objects or by using same object. How to identify object is a current object or argument object? Dot operator left side. Current object. Inside parenthesis. How can we identify the non-static variable value reading from which object inside the method? Depends on the place. Okay. This keyword refers to current object and parameter refers to argument object. Inside method, you call x value by using this value coming from current object. You read by using parameter value coming from argument object. Is it clear? Right? This program, here I have shown you reading, but I'm going to upload another program, modify. Okay. Everyone,
draw memory, do the modifications in the object according to logic given, and then find the output. Tomorrow when you're coming to class, everyone should write the notes I'm uploading now. In addition to the whatever the notes you have written, extra notes I'm uploading. Today, 9 to 10, everyone should write that extra notes I'm uploading, the assignment program I'm giving, clearly draw memory diagram. After drawing memory diagram, I will also upload one video, explanation video of that program. You watch that video. When? Before or after? First you work, then after you working, watch that video and get some confusions or doubts or clarity, whatever you want by end of the class. Tomorrow, I want everyone be actively answer to the question programs. To the answer to the question in the program. Understand my point? So by tomorrow class completed, I want to see all these connections between user class to main user class to the business object class, how the objects are shared, how the objects are accessing all the points. So that with this knowledge, we can enter it into projects. Up to now, we discussed the concept. Tomorrow, I will use this concept in the student class, employee class, project, bank account class. I'll start using these concepts in the project so that you will not have confusion. Clear? Right. Thank you. See you all tomorrow. Please practice 9 to 10 and come. I'll upload. Don't worry. Online students, understood?